Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Council Time this Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. We'll start with the roll call.
Councillor Young,
Here.
Councillor Belcott,
Present.
Councillor Fuentes,
Here.
Councillor Little,
Here.
and Chair Marshall.
Here.
Thank you.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
None today.
No amendments. Then we'll move right on to public comment. And just a reminder, public comment during council time is on agenda items only, and you're limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone?
Carmen De Leon.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Carmen De Leon, and I'm talking about the minutes of June 22nd. So they're talking about this golf course and,
I think you may be referring to January 22nd.
oh, whatever. So they're talking about the golf course and it's had the same management for 20 years and ain't been managing to produce a single nickel, So I say that maybe looking at somebody else to manage it because obviously they've proven themselves a failure. And as for revenue, I would say to take some kids on field trips to go play golf, that's money. And to put people on work crew to do the cleanup staff and all of the whatever maintenance, that's free labor that's owed to the people. So put the, save money by not paying people to be a janitor. Work crew can do that. That's just because you guys asked for money saving ideas. And see, because this thing is too high. What's the other one? Yeah, fire the management, get the work crews out there. And the other one was the city manager in Vancouver is it's 330,000 a year. And if you want to save money, I'd say cut his salary in half, or look into how much he's really making and if he's really worth it, because I don't think so. And okay, so we got a minute. And the $5 million on opioids, I would suggest putting that into the people in prison and in jails, because you've obviously got a drug problem in there, and that's a lot of money. And I was trying to figure out how much that is per day. And is there going to be like a monthly receipt tally of $5 million in 1 year for opioids? I mean, people that are using these drugs obviously need help. And to me, like I've said before, I think that this money would be better spent for the jail, that they say of overcrowding and all that. How much would $1 million help? 5 million, even one of those millions, it would help the jail and all the prosecuting money and all that stuff. Why do you want to help these opioids? I told you I've done all these drugs myself. And it's as simple as get out of my house. Don't you bring me that garbage. And if you were my real friend, you wouldn't offer me deadly drugs. So you don't need to spend millions of dollars to figure that out. People got to have common sense here. And if they don't, that's why it's illegal. That's why they recriminalized it. Put them in the jail for a few weeks. And I think that is cheaper than a 6-month no working, what is it called when they put them in those, rehab centers forever. It's not that hard to be off those drugs.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I don't have anybody else in the room signed up. We do have one online.
Okay.
Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please state your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Good afternoon. This is Kimberly Goheen Elba, live citizen of Clark County, Washington, USA. I'm actually on another meeting here in Honolulu. They have a meeting today, and I want to let them know that, like Portland and Vancouver, they're a sanctuary city there, so I'll be informing them of a few things today. Yeah, on the minutes of November 13th and January 22nd, you spoke about the Roberts rules, which I think are very important. That was a real long day. In fact, both of those days were. You spoke about light rail. I'll state it again. The people of Clark County do not want light rail. Millions and millions of hard-earned tax dollars have gone towards that, though. I find that disturbing, and I think the citizens should audit. and do a big complaint, but we're kind of slow moving, trying to survive this last 4 years. Thank God President Trump got in. We can sing a little hallelujah for that. But also you spoke on the election building update. Greg Kimsey is getting way too much money. We need to downsize there. In other words, I'm for downsizing our big government here in Clark County, Washington. And there's many ways to do it. I listened in on the 9 o'clock meeting this morning, and let me tell you, there's millions of dollars that need to be not spent. You guys need to downsize all of the, I mean, one woman put 34, she has 34 employees, administrative spots. I mean, give me a break. So we are going to keep up on this. Tri-Mountain, we definitely need that golf course. I mentioned it, I opened up on the first day there. I have a very good heart towards that golf course, and I'm hoping that it stays that way. And for law and justice. And that's where my heart comes in. My son is incarcerated. He's been incarcerated for over 115 days with no due process. It's really a horrible injustice what's going on with him, but that is our main fight, and that's what we're going to try to do. I know there was a senator there yesterday. I missed it. But hopefully we do get a new jail system. I'm totally against the jail system being publicly or privately owned. I think that takes the people out. It makes it so that we have no recourse when we have a complaint. It all goes through unelected Kathleen Otto, and we need to get our jail back to the sheriffs, and the sheriffs under the people. The sheriffs is our militia. It is the sheriff's office is
Thank you.
we
Your
the
time's
people. And I
expired.
resent
Thank
Kathleen
you.
Otto taking over the
Okay,
sheriff's office.
that's, your time is up. Any other comments?
That concludes public comment.
Thank you very much. Okay, on to old business, approval of the minutes of November 13th, 2024 and January 22nd, 2025. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Although, any corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. New business.
None today.
No new business. Counselor reports. Are
Sure.
there any?
I got
Yes,
a-
go
I
ahead,
got a
Counselor
couple
Young.
today. One, I attended the Rose Village Neighborhood Association last night, and kudos out to our employees. Met Eric Lampert there, who works in Public Works, and he's serving as the chair of the Neighborhood Association. So just want to say we really appreciate all of our employees and all they do, and especially when their engagement reaches even outside of their official job duties. So thank you to him and all of our staff that work hard to make our community better. And then I would like to bring up a topic for discussion. At the end of the year, the council voted to have a reduction of 20% in the travel budget. I do believe in respecting 50%. Okay, 50%. I do believe in respecting the intention of the previous council and continuing to have staff work on delivering on that, reducing that particular budget. But I would like to give the staff a little bit more latitude to work on strategically how they're going to reduce that. So not just an arbitrary 50% across the board, but look at it, give us some ideas for how they can come to some significant reductions in that category, but also, like I said, more strategically.
Thank you. Are there other reports?
Chair, I have a report.
Yes, go ahead.
I was in Olympia last Thursday for the Wausau legislative meeting, and I think I touched on it briefly, or maybe Josh mentioned it during our Monday legislative meeting that there was a robust conversation related to tax exemptions, related to several different things, such as prepared food, fire district equipment, children's diapers. There was a laundry list, and collectively, the commissioners and counselors around the state agreed to not support tax exemptions because all the counties around the state are in a deficit. So at this time, they will not be supporting any tax exemptions. And then we just spent the rest of the day conversing about several different bills, House bills or Senate bills that are ongoing and are having different meetings related to various different things and kind of where people are standing on them, and then discussing several letters. And I think Jordan is working on a couple of those. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, just circling back, I was wanting to see if there was a council majority that were interested in giving that change in direction to staff.
Council?
So it's just a simple thumbs up.
Yeah, it could be a simple thumbs up, a couple thumbs up. I think, can this be circled back when we are scheduled to review some of the budgets? I'm not sure when would be the appropriate time for this to come up. It would be good to do this in the context of a broader budget discussion, I think.
We can certainly do that. I mean, as we're going through department information now, it is to set the stage for our budget policy discussion, so we can do it at that time. Council, if you didn't want to wait until that discussion, the other option is to have something go back in a staff report in front of council on a Tuesday meeting. And then if that were to be reversed, that decision, prior decision reversed, then that would be trued up in the fall supplemental budget for the technical pieces.
Okay. Is that acceptable to everyone?
So I would ask them, what is council's desire moving forward, to include it as part of the budget discussions, or to actually have a official staff report come before council?
I would prefer to wait for the budget discussions.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think from my understanding, you're essentially working on that. That was kind of the intent behind what was decided last year. And I just want to make sure that you're not doing work in a way that we don't end up adopting, essentially. So.
And I will say, I have not made any directives to department heads to start reducing their budgets at this point. It's really about maximizing revenues to offset some of the budget. And I won't be doing that until we get the policy direction from council, and
Okay.
hopefully in the next couple months.
Great, sounds good.
And I think at the time when the last year it was discussed, it wasn't seen as a huge dollar amount, but indicative of the direction we want to go in terms of tightening our belt. So thank you for that. Any other council reports? Okay, hearing none. Work session requests,
None today.
policy updates.
Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Jordan Bogey, Senior Policy Analyst. I've got several items for you today, just a few updates and a couple items following up on some previous policy discussions with Council. The first is I was asked by Council to put together a thank you letter for our outgoing County Arts Commission Chair, Deb Nagano. And so I have a letter drafted for her with your signatures ready to go on that. And I just would be looking for council thumbs up that you are supportive of the letter and interested in moving forward with sending that to her.
I see 3, 4, 5 thumbs up. So thank you for doing that.
Perfect. Thank you, Council. The second item I have for you is it's another BEAD letter. So BEAD, again, is the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program that's got $1.2 billion coming to the state of Washington from the federal government to deploy broadband infrastructure. We have another internet service provider who is interested in applying for 4 different project areas in the county. And they are ready to submit their application as soon as they get a letter of support. And they're hoping that council will be supportive. So this is Astound Broadband. They are partnering with another group called NoahNet to apply for 4 different project areas in Clark County, mostly in the north and northeast portions of the county. And so I basically put together this letter saying that the council supports funding broadband deployment in these parts of the county, and that we really hope that the State Department of Commerce provides the funds so that our applicants can start laying fiber to get that to and underserved areas. And so I'd just be looking for any thoughts, or ultimately, if council is willing to give this a thumbs up, to send this letter of support.
I'm seeing 5 thumbs up. Do you have any, just to follow up with that, it's heartening to see other companies coming forward. Do you know other areas that they're currently serving?
Yes. So I did look at Astound's service map that they had online, just as they were asking for this letter. And it looks like they do have a presence kind of up and down the West Coast, and they do have some availability already in Clark County. It looked like in sort of the Vancouver to Ridgefield area on the map that I saw. And so I think that I would hope that based on that, they would be able to continue kind of to build out if they were awarded these project areas from their existing infrastructure.
Great, thank you. And Northeast Clark County has a huge need for broadband, so this is good news. Anything else? Or go ahead.
So that is it on that letter. So thank you. Couple other updates for you. I have been bugging the State Department of Natural Resources to follow up on the letter that council sent to new commissioner Up the Grove a couple of weeks ago related to asking for a pause on the Dabbler timber sale. DNR called me back today, and the Dabbler sale is not paused. And so that auction will be moving forward as scheduled, it sounds like. I am aware that there is ongoing litigation around that timber sale. And so that is something that is outside of, the county's sphere of influence there, but we'll definitely be continuing to keep an eye on this and continue to keep you all apprised of what's happening there. And so I'll pause there because
I can see several fingers on buttons here to speak. So who wants to go first? Councillor Little.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. My question was just on our request to have a conversation with that office about the older growth forests and what their plan was to work with us on conserving them.
So I'm still working on trying to get that scheduled, but if that's still the interest of council, I'll keep on trying to get a conversation with some DNR folks here in front of council so that we can have a broader conversation about how they're managing state trust lands in the county.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Other comments by councilors?
I was just wondering if we received any official response.
We did not receive any official response to the letter that I sent over. I did get this phone call back from having called and emailed them a few times trying to figure out, because the incoming or the new commissioner did pause, I think it was 23 timber sales, and they did not have a list on their website or anywhere to see like what those sales were. And so I was trying to figure out, is Dabbler among them? And so it's not, but it might be instructive once they do publish that list to see what exactly the conditions that they had for pausing the sales that they did.
Other comments?
Well, no, it's incredibly unfortunate. And so just to clarify, there's absolutely nothing that we can do to influence that decision.
I think at this point, no, because this is state trust land. And so they ultimately have the authority over the activity that's happening there. Depending on what happens with the litigation, it may or may not end up actually going through with the harvest, but that And, you know, I think it's possible if it goes to litigation, maybe there is another point at which the council could engage or write a letter of support one way or the other or something like that. And I can definitely keep an eye on that. But I don't think at this point there's any direct ability for council to weigh in on that decision.
Do you know what the length of the process is if the sale is fully approved and it goes? I'm just kind of curious with that.
I am not sure of the exact timeline. I know these things do take a little while, and I know that at least for some portions of the sale area, they're going to have to like build a road to get in there. I think there's parts of it that aren't totally accessible currently. So I would guess it's a longer-ish term process, but I'm not totally sure of the details.
Thanks. It's a loss to our community, and that's unfortunate. So thank you.
Go ahead,
One
Councilor
more
Young.
question. Did our letter go to Commissioner Up the Grove, or was it only to DNR?
No, I sent it to him, sent it to his email directly, as well as I CC'd a bunch of different trust management staff that we've interacted with in the past.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. And I agree with Councilor Little. It would still be worthwhile to have DNR come and make a presentation about old growth and really how they manage the trust lands. They provided a great presentation, but it was only Chair Medvigi at the time and myself and I think Jordan, you were
was
on that call.
yeah.
Is there a slide deck that they provided us? Because maybe even that would be helpful in the interim, but I think there's more that would have been worthwhile for the entire council to hear.
Yeah, I took pretty extensive notes, and I can forward those to the council. I'm not sure that they sent their slide deck over, but I know I took a few screenshots while they were presenting, so
Good for you.
I can share those with
Yeah,
council.
and the impact that it has on the junior taxing districts too. And I think it'd be good to have an understanding of all of that.
Okay.
So is there a thumbs up for us to continue to pursue DNR? Looks good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for following up with that. What else you got?
Okay, let's see. Okay, so obviously there's been a lot of movement at the federal level with executive orders and the OMB memo freezing funding out to programs across the country. Well, I just wanted to give council an update. As of today, that memo has been rescinded. And so, as I understand it, many of the president's executive orders are still in place, which the funding freeze was like attempting to implement. But because of the lack of clarity and kind of just how it was all constructed or not constructed well, it's been rescinded for the time being. And so it's also something we'll continue to keep an eye on because I know that does impact our county services that receive federal funding. So just wanted to give you an update that the pause has been paused.
Okay, that's clear. I would, given the uncertainty at the federal level, things could come up quickly. It would behoove us to be able to figure out how we can, if there's a response when something comes up, what that response would be. And I offer that as a suggestion, knowing I don't know what will be coming down next, but I think we're on the edge of our seats. So
I will think a little bit on that, and I know we've got county staff thinking about that. I know the finance team and is thinking about how to respond to this, and I know like our community services folks, they keep funds in reserve, a few months most of the time for the very purpose of if something were to happen.
right, I'm
we have some
wondering
flexibility.
whatever political leverage we might have when things come up, if we could be thinking about that collectively too.
Okay, great.
Other comments? Okay. You have more?
I do have let's see, 2 more items. The first is this morning there was a little bit of conversation during the community services presentation related to House Bill 1397, which was the bill that was related to the subordinate levies for veterans assistance programming as well as developmental disabilities. And just did like a bit of looking into that bill, and some of our community services staff has been reviewing it to see kind of what the impacts of that bill might be. And essentially what it looks like it does is it takes those subordinate levies from basically being a levy imposed by the county to being a levy that is credited against the state tax. And so the county under this bill could decide whether or not to transfer the funds. Either we could retain them locally for our own veterans assistance and developmental disability uses, or we could send it up to the state and they could use it to, access matching grant dollars or things like that, and then potentially grant it back to the county. It's all a little bit complicated, to be honest with you. As we know, the subordinate levies are one of the most confusing things about property taxes and the budget anyway. And so I'm going to continue to look a little bit more. And the bill's main sponsor is Representative Orcutt in the 20th District. And so I'm going to reach out to him and just kind of ask a little bit about like what his intent was behind the bill. So I'll follow up and get some more information for you. But just wanted to let you know that staff is being responsive and we're looking into some of the details. It does not look like this bill has a hearing scheduled yet. So I think we have a little bit of time to figure this out.
Counselor Young.
Thank you, Chair. The way you described it, I say no, thank you. But open to, we don't know all the details about it at this point, but I would appreciate if you could, and this might be something that we add to our legislative agenda. I would love to see it become its own levy instead of a subordinate levy. That way there's not pressure between the veterans and our general fund. It should be outside. It's a difficult choice to make. They need their funding. I would like to see it levied outside of the general fund levy. I don't know how that's possible, but it would be a good solution.
Thanks, Counselor. And actually, this bill would kind of do that by moving it to be out of the state portion of the property tax versus the county. But we'll look a little bit more into this, and I'll bring back some more information for council when I have a bit more detail.
Any other comments or thoughts? Maybe we can discuss this Monday during our legislative updates.
Perfect. I will give Josh and Colleen a heads up.
Great. Perfect.
And then the final thing I have for council is just looking for thumbs up to, so last year, council wrote a letter to the legislature and our legislative delegation regarding the document recording fee shortfall. And so document recording fees, which are basically fees levied on every real estate transaction, pay for much of the homeless services that the county provides. Because the volume of real estate transactions has in recent years been lower than it used to be, there has been a shortage of these document recording fees. And so that impacts obviously the services that could be provided. The last couple of years, the state has backfilled that shortfall so that counties are basically made whole to the amount that so they maintain like a level amount of funding from these document recording fees. Right now, it looks like, with the challenging budget environment at the state level, if the state does not backfill the amount that we were getting before, that would be about $3.5 million a year. So about $7 million over the next biennium that the county would be missing out on relative to what they got the last couple of years for homeless services. We are also potentially, haven't seen this yet, but also potentially looking at a 20% reduction in the current level of funding, which would represent another $2.4 million shortfall. So that's a lot of money that the county would typically use for homeless services that we would be missing out on. And so I've been asked to see if council would be supportive of me putting together a letter like I did last year to our legislative delegation requesting that they fully fund the document recording fees, backfill that shortfall, and also do not do the additional 20% cut that was potentially anticipated.
Was that 20% cut in the governor's budget?
So Governor Ferguson has not yet released his detailed budget. It was not in outgoing Governor Inslee's draft budget that he released, but it was advised to our Department of Community Services from the state to potentially anticipate up to a 20% cut. And so I'm not sure if that's just them being like, this is the worst case scenario, or exactly how realistic that is, but that's what we've been advised that our community services should be planning for potentially having to deal with.
And that would be for this current year?
That would be for the upcoming biennium. Yeah. So starting July 1st.
Okay. So a letter, I'm a thumbs up on a letter. Okay. 5 again, support that. And I think bringing this to ECHO so we can share that information and encourage other jurisdictions to weigh in on this too would be
I will
good.
do that as well.
Great.
Thank you, Chair. And that's all I've got for you
That's
today.
all. Okay, that was great. Yes, go ahead.
I just had a question for Jordan. Is that also in front of Wasac?
Yes, they are aware, and WASAC, and I can't remember the acronym for the Community Services Association group that's a part of WASAC, but they are also writing their own letter to the legislature, and they're engaged on the issue as well.
Great. Thank you.
Does anyone on the council have any policy updates? Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you very much, Jordan. We'll be going into executive session, so we'll be dealing with 9.1, which is RCW 42.30.110, paren little I, paren little g. We're projecting 5 minutes. Do we think it'll be 5 minutes? What if we
Let's just do 10 to be safe if we can.
Okay, so would that be 1:47 as I'm looking at the clock?
Let's do 150 because counselors have to
150.
log on.
Excellent.
works.
Okay, till 1:50. Okay, and then we'll reconvene and there's a potential after action. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. The chair has asked us to announce that the executive session is going to be extended for an additional 10 minutes, and open session will reconvene at 2 o'clock. Hello, everybody. The chair has again announced us to let you know that executive session is going to be extended for an additional 10 minutes, and open session will reconvene at 2:10. Thank you.
Okay, the council is back from our executive session, and our after action is to take nominations to interview for the planning commission. There's one opening. So I would, and I think at this point we'll take turns making a motion. It would be good for each of us to make a motion and then decide and see where we end up. And it would require a majority vote of 3 to move the person on to be interviewed. So I'll entertain any motions.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I want to nominate 2 applicants.
I think we're
One at a time?
going to do one at
Okay.
a time.
First one is Ron Barca.
Okay, are we seconding it? Or is it just 3 thumbs up? How formal are we?
Yes, please second.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of interviewing Ron Barca, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay? For opposed? For affirmative and 1 opposed. So Ron Barca is on the list. Is there any other nominations?
Chair, I'd like.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make a nomination, and please forgive me if I pronounce her name incorrectly. Lily Padilla, I believe. Sorry.
We know who you mean.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved for Lilia, I think. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no? No. Any other nominations? 4-1, yes. Oh.
Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Young.
I would move to nominate David Kornienko. Apologize if I pronounced the name wrong.
I second that.
Moved and seconded. I haven't been asking for discussion, but is there any discussion? I guess there's something, I think that his background, I think, is primarily as a developer. I think we're well represented by developers on the planning commission, so that would be a concern of mine. Any other thoughts? It moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 3 ayes, opposed, no.
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 Nay.
3-2, he moves along.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Don Stanky.
It's been moved for Don Stanky. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to say, I appreciate Don's contribution to the climate committee. My concern was that I just wanted to give the opportunity for a newcomer to join.
Great, I appreciate that. So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Okay, 4-1, so Don moves on. Any other, let's see, how many do we have at this point? We're at 4. Has everyone had an opportunity to nominate someone? Oh, I haven't. Oh my gosh. Okay, I would nominate Dominic, and I don't have this information right in front of me, but so I would nominate him to be interviewed.
I second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that was, any opposed, no? Okay, unanimous. So here we are at 5. Could someone remind us who we just voted for? To summarize, because I'm wondering, I will just, if people want to have a limit on the number of people, or if people are interested in making more nominations. Chris, could you just summarize for us?
Now it's on. Okay. Your nominees so far are Ron Barca, Lilia, whose last name I do not have before me, David K, is it? Don Stanky, and Dominic.
Okay, are there further nominations, or would someone like
Sure.
to close nominations? Yes, go ahead, Counselor.
I do have one more nomination of somebody that I would like to interview, and that would be Kyle Fadness, who is an engineer, has been involved with the Mill Plain BRT Main Street redesign. And important to me that home ownership was a concern that was mentioned.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, unanimous on that one. So we're up to 6 now, and I will ask if there's further nominations or if there's a motion to close nominations.
I motion to close nominations.
Move to close. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of closing nominations for the Planning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, unanimous to close. So we're at 6 applicants. So they will be notified. We will schedule a time for interviews and congratulations to those and thanks to everyone who applied. We really rely on the public. This is a volunteer activity, and we're grateful to everyone who's applied for these positions. So thank you all. Okay, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned.